Call of Duty Zombies will never be the same again, and that's okay. It's no secret that Zombies has been rapidly changing over the past few years. Some would argue that the mode could even be considered to be unrecognizable today compared to something like Black Ops 2. With the removal of basic features such as a buildable shield, the old point system starting with a pistol, and the brand new implementations of features such as the armor system, field upgrades, and the ability to take a shitload of hits before downing, Zombies over the years has changed to appeal to a much different audience, a much more casual audience. And with Black Ops 6 on the horizon, which has the community in absolute shambles, people need to realize one crucial thing. Zombies is never going to revert to how it once was. And I think a lot of people who criticize modern zombies need to ask themselves, do you actually hate modern zombies because of its flaws, or because it's different? Now, before my comments get flooded with a ton of hate comments accusing me of being the problem or calling me a new gen, let me just clarify this. I love classic Zombies, and I will always prefer it to modern Zombies, and I do wish we could get something similar back, but keyword there, similar. I don't want to copy and paste a Black Ops 3 with just new maps. I want innovation and I want new features. I just don't want these new features at the cost of changing the core game mode as we know it. A good example of this is the loadout system. And now, while I don't mind the loadout system all that much, it definitely takes away a little bit from the game overall, especially the game's progression. On top of that, the weapon rarity system is just too overcomplicated. We really should only have two rarities, a loadout rarity and a normal rarity. Why the fuck do we have a whole rainbow of rarities? In my opinion, having all these different rarities just completely devalues the Pack-a-Punch machine, especially considering that not only do you have to upgrade your gun all the way to the orange, yellow rarity, whatever the fuck it is, then you also have to get tier 3 Pack-a-Punch, which costs like 75,000 points or some shit. It's just insane. But on the other hand, being able to spawn in with your own weapon makes camo grinding so much easier. Weapon loadouts is a good feature. It just needs to find a line between not ruining progression, but still being fresh and interesting. Now, that's just one example out of many. I could go on and on about what's wrong with modern zombies, but let's be real. There's already a million videos on that. I want to talk about why zombies changing and adapting to newer audiences and leaving old features behind doesn't necessarily mean that Zombies is going in a bad direction or that Zombies is dying. And in order to discuss that, we need to establish two very important things. What are the key differences between classic and modern zombies, and how has the community changed over the years? Let's tackle these one at a time, starting with the key differences. The key differences between classic and modern zombies is surprisingly a very subjective question. Some people might say the difference is in the gameplay, the atmosphere, and the maps, whilst others might just simply say it's gotten easier. But for me personally, the massive difference between classic and modern zombies comes down to a few things, some of which we will discuss later on in this video. Lack of creativity, toxic community, and the overall purpose of the mode. There's no denying that there's been a lack of creativity in recent years, whether it be the creativity for the map locations, map atmosphere, wonder weapons, brand new features, and even just new perks. There clearly isn't that same level of creativity behind the scenes. I'd imagine most of this is due to the fact that the team developing zombies nowadays is entirely different from the team back in the day, but still, the fact that custom map developers on Black Ops 3 can come up with more creative map ideas than Treyarch really shows a lot. We went from having insane looking maps like Origins, Gorod Krovi, Drak, Revelations, hell, even a map on the fucking moon, to nowadays where it's either just a basic ass facility map or a reused asset from Warzone or multiplayer. And yes, while I do understand that this might stem from lack of development time, it still takes away from the game as a whole, and there's just no defending that. Atmosphere makes zombies feel like zombies. It's not the HUD or the gameplay mechanics like you might see people talking about on Twitter or Reddit. It's the atmosphere, or as the kids these days like to spam on every fucking TikTok post, the aura. If you slap the Cold War Zombies HUD onto Origins gameplay, it's still gonna look like zombies. But if you slap the Black Ops 2 HUD onto Modern Warfare 3 zombies, you would think it's a Warzone Halloween event. And no, I'm not talking about simply just making a nighttime map. There's been plenty of maps set during the day that still look incredible. Hell, even recently, Firebase Z, the atmosphere on that map was amazing. The map sucked ass, but the atmosphere was amazing. Atmosphere is a massive part of Zombies. It's what made Zombies feel like a completely separate game from Call of Duty in general. But don't even get me started on how much the Zombies community has changed over the years. This could be a whole fucking rant video on its own, but I'm gonna try and keep it short and sweet. The community has grown into being an absolute toxic wasteland of these OG Zombies players that will absolutely trash you for having a basic opinion that differs from theirs. The fact that someone can be positive and hopeful for Black Ops 6 Zombies and get spam death threats to the point that Milo has to come out and say, hey, it's just a fucking opinion, calm the fuck down, is an absolute joke. And I know it's only this portion of the community that does this, because if you go to a channel that posts modern Zombies content, someone like Donuts, consider checking him out, by the way, he's an absolute G, the comments are nowhere near the same. It's in these comment sections you'll find actual optimism and excitement for upcoming Zombies content, not just pure blind hate and negativity talking about, oh my god, this fucking sucks, this looks like nothing like BO3, just remaster BO3 already. It's awful, it's disgusting, and it's something that I truly will never be able to stand. This is already getting me riled up, so I'm just gonna move on before I get too fucking pissed off. The core purpose of the game mode has also changed pretty massively. What once was a pretty hardcore game mode about killing zombies and surviving as long as you can, with little Easter eggs and stories sprinkled in every now and then, is now a much more casual, familiar experience across all Call of Duty players, whether that be multiplayer or Warzone. And those Easter eggs are now pretty much just main story quests. Zombies is no longer about that discovery, that mystery, that mystique. It isn't as dark and gritty as it used to be. It's a lot more freeing, a lot more open, and much more focused on gameplay mechanics as opposed to the little details about story or map locations. This is kind of a mixture of both a positive and a negative. The positive is simply the fact that the gameplay has improved so much. It is way more replayable than older Call of Duty titles. It's a lot more action-packed and a whole lot more fun. And while yes, it is easy, that could always be fixed with the Rampage Inducer. Or hell, even a fucking, a difficulty slider that was in Black Ops 2 and Black Ops 4. Why the fuck did you remove custom mutation? Anywho, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that modern Zombies doesn't have its fair share of flaws, but you also cannot sit here and tell me that every Call of Duty Zombies in the past hasn't had its fair share of flaws as well. Controversial, but I personally believe Black Ops 1's a little too basic. That might just be because of how long ago it was released, but still. Black Ops 2 has way more bad maps than it does good maps. Black Ops 3 can arguably be easier than Cold War at times. Black Ops 4 as well, Black Ops 4. And Cold War just lacks personality. You may not like loadouts. You may not like armor or score streaks, but these are still entirely brand new features that need time to be workshopped, figured out, and finalized. Remember when the buildable system was very first introduced to Zombies? It was awful, to put it lightly. Having to pick up parts one at a time, carry them halfway across the damn map, just for it to break in 2 seconds and have to repeat the whole process? It was awful. But as time went on, this was workshopped, fixed, and made way better. And even though Treyarch kinda, threw buildables out the fucking window, it's still a good example as to why, yes, these systems may not be perfect now, but they will get better over time. Zombies has changed, and so have we. We aren't the same little kids with zero responsibilities staying up until 4 a.m. playing with the boys. Black Ops 4 was truly the end of an era for Zombies, not just for the story, but for the game mode as a whole. We're in an entirely different generation of Zombies and Zombies players. Call of Duty has changed massively, and Zombies has had to adapt to that as well. It may not be perfect. It may not be Black Ops 3 levels of absolute astonishment, but it's still very enjoyable. And at the end of the day, it's still Zombies. Before I end this video, let me make one last thing very clear that I may not have stated earlier on. I don't mind people being negative or critical towards modern Zombies. That's just how feedback works and how games improve. The part that bothers me is the blind hate targeted towards the devs for not making a game as good as their precious Black Ops 3. Anyways, my voice fucking hurts now, so if you enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like and subscribing for Black Ops 6 content next week. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.